Fight Fiend forecast. I'm Joseph, the host, back to predict week 2 of Dana White's Contender Series. Last week, on Tuesday night, we went 3 for 2. Not very good. Both bets lost. I gave out 2 free bets. I'm going to give out 2 free bets each and every Dana White's Contender Series. The first bet was Torrez, who looked pretty good. He didn't look that bad. It was a good pick in my opinion. He was one of the best underdogs on the card. Somehow, Rami Hamid as an underdog got it done against Meng Ding, who was fighting on the Asian regional scene. It was tough to say if he was really going to be that good or not. Clearly not. Rami Hamid got it done. He had some time off, fought through some injuries. He fought through that fight on his back foot. Dana was not impressed, and that was the only contract to not be given out. So the Lebanon fighter, Rami Hamid, did not get the contract, the only one. The other bet was Bruno Lopez. He could have got the submission, but he got the knockout. I fucked up, and that bet did not hit. I went quite heavy on that one as well. 3.5 unit wager to profit, 6.1 units for the submission, Bruno Lopez. I thought that was the most likely outcome for him to win and get the contract, but he dragged it out, and Cezignani got knocked out. God damn it. Both bets lost. Probably fade the Fight Fiend forecast right now, but I'm going to break down each and every fight on Dana White's Contender Series and give you my lean, my prediction, and what I think will happen. I'm not telling you to listen. Do your own research. Follow your instinct, and let's take advantage of these bookies. They have been taking advantage of me, but 3 for 5 last week. It's a Contender Series. Anything can happen. Happy with the Kavanaugh pick on the full card prediction show for Dana White's Contender Series. Last week, week 1, I said Kavanaugh could get the knockout. So, my predictions aren't too bad. You look at the Torrez pick. I don't think it was a bad underdog pick here. We got a lot of big favorites on this card coming up, week 2, and I think there might be an underdog or 2 live. Will they win? I don't know. I'm probably going to pick one, though, so stay tuned. We're going to break it down here in a minute. Lopez, another good pick. He was a fighter coming back to the Contender Series for his second time. On the thumbnail, you're seeing 3 fighters plus Dana. These 3 fighters have been here before. They're looking to get the contract this time around, and I'm picking them to win. So there's 3 picks right away, given away. We got 3 guys coming back for their second time. I think the UFC matchmakers think they are very good fighters and they want them inside the organization. They're getting handed pretty easy matchups, one more than the others. We're going to break it down right here, right now. Let's get after it. We're going to make it quick, and we're going to make it profitable. I friggin' hope so. The last couple weeks have been rough, and no profit was made on the first week of Dana White's Contender Series. And we've seen a bunch of holy shit moments. So let's see what we can do on this card. The first fight on the card is the toughest to predict, in my opinion. It's going to be the closest fight. This is where the dog could be live. Billy Brand was the favorite. He is now the betting underdog. Things can change. It could become a 50-50 fight. I'm going to be completely honest. Recording this show, I have not looked at any betting odds. Nothing like that. I'm just here on Sunday doing my predictions after doing my research and everything like that. I just posted the picks, and I don't even have the current betting odds because I never looked at it. So I heard Billy Brandt opened as the favorite, looking at the line movement tracker, and now he's a favorite. There's a big shift in line movement on this fight, and I think both these guys have one loss to a very, very high-level fighter, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm 100% right, because Billy Brand lost to Peyton Talbot in the 3rd round. I watched that fight back. It was 2.5 years ago, and the ref kind of stopped it early. Billy Brand in the 2nd round was actually looking pretty phenomenal. That's hard to believe against Peyton Talbot. This guy, Billy Brand, probably gave Peyton Talbot his toughest fight to date. Now, seeing him as a favorite, I wouldn't disagree with it. Seeing him move to the underdog, not quite sure why. You got Cody Haddon here, stepping in as the favorite now. 6-1, 25 years old. He's a little bit younger still pretty green in their careers. They're probably UFC caliber, though, and they are very good fighters to add to the bantamweight division in the UFC. Cody Haddon fought
Steve Erceg,
who is a flyweight fighter, and lost a unanimous decision 3 years ago. I don't think that was
Steve Erceg,
closest fight to date, so I think Cody Haddon has some holes in his game. Billy Brand does too. He did lose to Peyton Talbot. He was getting hit a lot in that fight. He drops his hands. He likes to be entertaining, but I think he has more power in this fight. These Australians, they get knocked out sometimes. Shannon Ross, his record is not very good. You look at this guy, he's 6-1. He's no Shannon Ross. But I worry about the chin of some of these Australians. Tom Nolan, another guy, he got knocked out to Nicholas Mota. He's not that big train guy you want to be picking as a favorite. I wouldn't be so positive on the favorites. These prospects can do anything. The dogs can deliver. I might take a dog here. He might deliver. Billy Brand. He could have beat Peyton Talbot. He was winning the second round before he got finished. In the third round, he wasn't looking bad. Was that a third round finish or second round? You know, he was tough, durable. The ref seen enough, and I'm pretty sure it was in the third round. That fight almost went the distance. And if it did, I'd like to see the scorecards. He has the American wrestling in this fight. He's fought the American competition. I think that's going to help him in this matchup as well. Yeah, he got finished halfway through round 3. He almost survived, but he took a lot of damage. With this being said, I thought he was looking good. He put up a good fight. He has a lot of fights in amateur. He has 3 knockouts, 2 decision wins pro. He can go the distance. He's been going the distance. In his last fight, actually, to a guy 3-0, he went the distance. I'd like to see him get the finish. He's showing a lot of finishing potential, but he's knocking out guys 0-1, 1-0, 1-1. These are prospects. Anything can happen. He opened as the favorite. I'm going to pick him as the underdog. Cody Haddon, I know he fought Steve Erceg, but Erceg just got floored to Kai Kara France. Fights like that happen. Cody is tough as well. He's durable. This fight could very well go the distance. I think it will. A finish could be live as well, though. I don't know. It's Dana White's Contender Series. Anything can happen. We've seen a lot of finishes last week, and we've seen an underdog move to a favorite in Abdul Malik dominate. The line movement could be correct. I'm going to fade it this time around. People are going to think I'm crazy. I'm just fiending an underdog pick, looking to get some juice, make some money back, but that's not the case. I'm clearly picking which fighter I think is better. Steve Erceg won a unanimous decision. It wasn't even Steve Erceg's closest fight. Steve did get dropped in that fight, watching that one back. So, Billy Brand is going to be fighting a tough, quick fighter, but although Billy Brand fought guys that were 1-1, 0-1, 1-0, this guy has only fought guys that were 9-7, 19-12, and 1-1. Lost to a guy, Steve Erceg at the time, who was 6-1. Not a bad loss. He debuted against a guy 10-8. So he's fought guys with a lot of experience. It's really tough to predict this fight. The underdog could be live. You got Billy Brand opening up as the favorite, now the underdog. If you were looking at it before, you could have seen Cody Haddon as an underdog. And then you probably hammered it because he's the favorite now. I don't love this pick. It's a 52% confidence level pick. It's the lowest confidence level pick on the entire event for me. I don't have much confidence in this pick. I'm trusting in who opened up as the favorite. This fight is going to be close. It could go the distance. I don't know how the judges are going to score it. I don't know who's going to show up at the face-offs, at the weigh-ins, and look better. So my pick could change. If a pick changes for the Dana White's Contender Series, you got to join Patreon for $5 a month to see any changes, to see any bets, and stuff like that. Because I am not doing a second video for the Dana White Contender Series, and I am not doing any tail of the tape. I don't got time for that. I'm doing quick predictions, and we're moving on. I am going to side with the underdog ever so slightly, but he opened up as the favorite. So that's something to think about. Although the line movement coming in could be sharp. I just don't know. It's a low confidence pick. We're moving on. We're not talking about these fights too long. I just want you to know that I don't have much confidence in this underdog pick. It's a low confidence pick, and if you do have Cody Haddon, maybe your confidence is going to grow, because my picks have been pretty bad. 3 for 2 on the last event, or 3 for 5. I had 2 wrong. And the fight night last night there. 3 for 12 at UFC 305. Not acceptable. Hopefully my pick on the first fight of the night produces, because he could be a Fiend of the Week. I'm having 2 Fiend of the Weeks. Could be 3, could be 4, could be 5, I guess, because there's a lot of favorites on this card. And Billy Brand could be a good single bet, so he could be 1 Fiend, but the other bet might have to be a couple favorites. Now that we're getting into the second fight of the night here, Rowston versus Torrez Finney. Finney's coming back for the second time. He's the first guy coming back for the second time, and I think all 3 of them are going to win. You could parlay them. They're big favorites. We're going to be chalk donkeys. Yeehaw. Torrez Finney, though, he has power. He just floored a guy, made a highlight out of him in the first round 3 months ago. Dana's seen that, and he's like, holy shit, I should have signed him. You friggin' should have. Torrez Finney has power. He can floor this guy here, Rowston, but he was getting hit against Yuri Panfurov, who ended up getting submitted 10 months ago in the Contender Series, but showed a good performance against Torrez Finney. Gave him a good fight in that first round, so anything can happen. But Torrez Finney getting the call back, I think Dana made a mistake. He's getting this right this time around, and Torrez Finney will produce once again. He'll get the finish. Will it be a submission? I don't know. His last fight, he just floored that guy with the knockout. 1 punch and sent him to the Shadow Realm. This is not a pick to go chase an underdog at all. 25 years old, Torrez Finney is showing up here as a prospect against a 29-year-old that is getting sent to the slaughterhouse, to the Shadow Realm, and he's getting finished. It could be a submission, it could be a knockout. Torrez Finney is going to flatline him, though. He's going to cover as a favorite. I don't know how wide it is going to be set at, how wide it's going to continue to grow, because Torrez Finney is going to be a favored pick for a lot of people, and they're going to be betting him. So let's hope he wins, and let's hope we can find some other parlay pieces. It shouldn't be hard. We got 2 other guys coming back to the Contender Series to make a second go of it, to get into the UFC and get their contract, and I think all 3 get it done with ease. Torrez Finney likely gets Rowston out of there in the first round. I'm that confident. 95% of Tapology has him to win, and we're all thinking KO. We could play it safe, inside the distance, but yeah, I think, like everybody else on this one, it's probably going to be a KO, because Rowston is 6'2", he's long and lanky, his chin is going to be hanging there for Finney to fucking hit. Finney's 5'8", he's short, compact, full of muscle, and it probably won't take too much to knock out a guy 6'2", long and lanky, having a tough time cutting weight. I can't wait to see the face-offs and the weigh-ins for this week's Dana White's Contender Series. In this fight, I know for sure Torrez Finney is still going to be the fucking pick, and he's going to fucking destroy Rowston in the first round. Could be the second, either or. He's getting the finish. If you want to see what I'm going to cook up, maybe it's a parlay, maybe it's a single bet on Torrez Finney, get after that Patreon. It's $5 a month, exclusive early access to not only the picks, the bets, the confidence levels, method of victories, but don't follow each and every bet, because the Fiends have been on a losing streak, and it's probably going to come to a fucking end after Torrez Finney hits as the first leg of the parlay. The second leg of the parlay is the third fight of the night here, and this is another guy coming back for the second time. Last year he lost his fight, Cortavious, Romious. He is a very good fighter. He has a lot of submissions, and he's getting set up against the Canadian from Ontario. There's 2 Canadians from Ontario getting set up to get slaughtered, in my opinion. I'm taking the reverse psychology route here. I'm going against my Canadian, who I usually would pick to win, because I want to make some money. I want to make a smart pick. And Cortavious, are you not entertained? Romious is a fucking good pick. He's going to get the job done his second time around First time it did not go his way against Raymond Tavares. He got knocked out. Left hook, hammer fist. He got floored. After that, though, 3 months ago, he submitted a guy 15-28, a ton of experience, made easy work of him. He's getting a lot of first-round finishes, and that's just what he does. He has a couple knockouts. He has power, he's quick and accurate. I think he's not only going to be the better striker in this fight against my Canadian, who I should tell you who it is, Michael Imperato. It could be Mikhail, but I'm going to call him Michael. I didn't do any research on this guy yet, and it's because he's 12-6. And he's fighting a guy that was on the Contender Series last year, who this time around is probably getting set up to win by the matchmakers. They definitely like this guy, Cortavious, Romious. He's going to be entertaining. Are you not entertained is his nickname, and he's getting this submission win in almost every fight. Armbars, rear naked chokes, and they're all coming early. Now, Imperato has fought some very good guys. He fought Mike Malott when he was making his pro debut, or very short into his pro career. Fought Mike Malott. He got finished in the very first round, but, he fought Mike Malott. Good level of competition early in his career, but recently, 2 years ago, my Canadian lost to a guy 10-8 by knockout. What are you doing? He lost a decision a year and 3 months ago to a guy by a unanimous decision that's 8-5. He sucks. My Canadian sucks. I don't know why he's here. He's been win, loss, win, loss, win. I don't know how the fuck he's a contender. How is he getting called by Dana? I should put on some MMA gloves and start training if this guy is getting a call from Dana White to fucking fight at 145? Or is this a lightweight fight? It's actually at bantamweight. It's a 135 scrap, and Imperato is a featherweight. Maybe he has some weight in this fight, packs a punch. Cortavious, latest weight for him was 158. Holy boy. A little heavy. He's short, 5'4" against a 5'8" Imperato, but he's going to pack a punch. He's short and compact with a ton of muscle, just like Torrez Finney. Although he's short, he's going to be fast as well. And he weighed in a lot heavier in his last fight. He fought guys that aren't the highest level, but this is probably not his toughest fight to date. Imperato is 12-6. He just got knocked out less than 2 years ago to a guy that was 10-8, and lost the decision a year and 3 months ago to a guy that's 8-5. It goes back farther than that. There's more bad losses. He has 6 losses, and I don't know how the hell he's here on the Contender Series. I don't see one reason to give him the call. Not one. He lost a fight in his second last fight. I know Cortavious, Romious did as well, but it was on the Contender Series, and it was within the first 30 seconds. So we haven't seen much from him in that fight. He could have just got caught. It's just not a fair fight for Cortavious on the Contender Series. Maybe he's terrible. Maybe he's going to get caught in this fight, and Imperato is going to make me eat my words, but I hope not. I'm taking the reverse psychology play here and going against Imperato with very high confidence. Cortavious, Romious should win this fight in the first round and make it look easy. Another guy getting sent to the Shadow Realm. Unfortunately, he's a Canadian, and I might be cheering for him a bit. But it's going to be hard to cheer for a guy 12-6 who really should not be on the Contender Series against a guy that I wanted to win really bad last year. And now that he's back, I'm betting heavy on him. He's definitely winning his second time around. Are you not entertained? You got 2 guys coming back to Dana White's Contender Series that are guaranteed to dominate. Take the bet, take the play. You don't even have to play the props if we're this confident in the play. The money line is probably steaming, most likely extremely wide, and you don't want to play it. But if we can take 3 favorites and parlay it and double our money, we might just have to do that. In this next fight, another favorite should win. He should be another massive favorite, and I don't even know what we're doing here. We're bringing in a heavyweight guy that is green. I said this about Walter Walker last week. You might not want to listen, but we're seriously bringing in a guy that is greener than the money that this bet will make if it if it hits. It is heavyweight. We don't know what can happen in this fight. And the Russian, Rizvan Kuniev, is suspect. The dude popped for fucking steroids in his last fight that got changed to a no contest versus the PFL champion. He won a unanimous decision, which is a clear reason to pick him in this fight, but he did get popped for roids. Not a good sign. And not just like one little speck of it. He had like 4 different types of steroids in his system. The dude is a juicer, but he's Russian. He has the EV in his last name, which that's why the odds are going to be so wide. He's fighting a guy from Brazil, 8-1, who is a little bit green. Honestly, he lost to a guy 6-1 split decision 2 years and 6 months ago, and he shoots desperate takedowns, sloppy takedowns, just lazy takedowns in fights that he's winning as well. When he was losing that fight, he was trying to get into the clinch. It wasn't working. If he gets into the clinch with Kuniev, it's not going to end well, and he's going to get caught with a razor punch. He's going to get split open, and he could potentially get caught in a submission. Rizvan should win this fight by a finish. It could be a knockout, submission, either or. He could do whatever he wants in this fight. He had Fiend in a terrible, horrible, not a very good position last fight that he could have finished, but his IQ just isn't that high level. I don't think he'll go that high in the heavyweight division with other high-level UFC heavyweights, but he'll go pretty far. He'll beat a lot of good guys like Muhammad Usman, Mick Parkin potentially. We're going to have to see. He fought a guy that used to fight in the UFC and submitted him with a guillotine choke, and he lifted him off the canvas when he cranked his back backwards. He literally pulled him off the fucking canvas. It was a dangerous guillotine choke, and he finished the fight very first round. He has the grappling abilities, submission abilities in this fight to make me pretty comfortable. On the feet, he should make it comfortable as well. He just fought the PFL champion, Fiend, to a unanimous decision. He got popped for roids. It was a no contest, but he should be the better fighter. He will be the better fighter, and it's his second time coming back. We got to look back 2 years to see him on the Contender Series win by knockout against a guy 12-2 and not get the contract as well. This is another fight Dana White made a mistake. He's going to correct it by bringing him back in and giving him a contract. Giving us a bag as well. Torrez, Finney should bring us a bag. And Cortavious, Romious should deliver a bag as well. All 3 of them in a parlay would be a great bet. Is it a plus money bet? I don't know. I haven't looked at the odds. These are probably the 3 biggest favorites in the last 2 weeks. I can't even say these are the 3 biggest favorites on the card, because I already know they're probably the 3 biggest favorites with last week's card and this week's card combined. These 3 favorites are going to fucking dominate and control the entire fight. If the fight goes the distance, you might like the bet all on the money line. If you think all 3 fighters are going to finish in round 1, like I do, you might like the round 1 play for all 3 of these fighters. If you think all 3 of these fighters are going to win by finish, which I almost 100% can guarantee you that they will. Almost 100% guarantee you that they will. One of them's a heavyweight fight. We've been seeing some crazy shit happen at a heavyweight. Tai Tuivasa, Rowston going the distance. Some other fights going the distance. If this fight goes the distance, we're not going to see a contract, so I do think we will see a finish. We will see a contract for the Russian who likes steroids. Who likes to get caught for using steroids. Maybe he doesn't like to use them. Maybe he was tricked into using them or had them tipped into his supplements. I don't know. Anything can happen. But I think he might have been on the juice. He's off it now, I would hope. And I also hope he's still very good. Rizvan Kuniev should win this fight 100%. He just beat the PFL champion, for crying out loud. So, it should be an easy win against who I didn't even talk about other than saying he's green, and lost to a guy 6-1 by split decision, Hugo Cunha. Like, this guy is very green for heavyweight. He's fighting some low caliber fighters. He's not fighting the PFL champion. There's a level of competition that is very significant in this fight. The silverback ain't gonna do much. and I'm pretty sure we just seen a guy called the Silverback last week there, Thad Jean, at PFL, so that's why I was thinking about the Silverback. But this Silverback, he beat Eduardo Neves by arm triangle choke in the second round. Late second. Eduardo Neves dropped his ass in the first round, and he looks sloppy. He's not only sloppy, he is not very good. He beat a guy 11-7 in the first round by knockout before that. And 6-4 rear naked choke, 5-1 rear naked choke, 4-1 knockout round 2. He's beat some decent guys, but at Future FC, Open Fighting Championship, and Titan FC. Not the highest level promotions either. He took a step to one championship, took a step up in competition to a guy 6-1, and lost the split decision. He might be tough and durable enough to go the distance and not get finished, but I don't think he's going to win this fight. I'd like to see the odds. I have not looked at the odds on this week's Contender Series. I'm doing these predictions without looking at the odds. I do have an underdog, I believe, because I seen a little indication somewheres on Twitter, Instagram, that one guy moved from a favorite to a fucking underdog. And last week, Abdul Malik had that happen to him, and he absolutely dominated. So let's see what happens here. I'm going against the line movement. I'm going to take the guy that opened up as the favorite in that first fight of the night. This one here, we're done breaking down. We're taking the three favorites after the first fight of the night, and Rizvan Kuniev should dominate. He just beat the PFL champion. Simple as that. Unanimous decision in that fight. Fienda is a much better fighter than Cunha. Like, so much better. And now we got the second most closest fight that could go either way in my opinion on this card, but it could be a complete domination because Pat Pytlik, he didn't look very good when he was boxing in 2019, to be honest. And he got submitted to a guy 13-8. My Canadian, Pat Pytlik, is from Ontario as well, and he's probably getting set up to go to the slaughterhouse and to the Shadow Realm against the tough Swedish Andreas Gustafsson, who has a bunch of tats, who looks tough as shit, who is tough as shit, but he shouldn't be showing his toughness against guys 8-4. I don't love the pick. That's why I think it's a low confidence pick. My Canadian could come in here and light this guy up. Pat Pytlik has a bunch of first round finishes, and he could get the first round finish in this fight. Both guys have fought pretty low caliber guys. You're looking at their last two fights, and you're seeing Pat Pytlik beat a guy 11-7, knocked him out. And after that, it was a guy 10-4. A little bit better. That was 6 months ago. But you got to look at when he fought. He took a 5-year break from competition after his loss, and he was even going to hang up the gloves and not continue fighting. He was going to take another career choice and start doing something else, and he already did start pursuing something else. He wasn't fighting through COVID. COVID got him back into fighting. Andreas Gustafsson has been fighting the whole time. He is a guy that beat Christian Leroy Duncan, a guy inside of the UFC, beat him by unanimous decision as well. So although he does have to show his durability and toughness against guys that are 8-4, and he gets dropped, he gets cut and split open, almost finished in those fights, he still manages to win. Knocked out the guy that was 8-4, who almost finished him. His next fight, he fought a guy 13-10. Andreas Gustafsson is tough. He's fighting guys pretty low caliber as well, but he is more active. He's way more active. He's had 5 fights in less than 2 years, and Pat Pytlik had 2 fights in less than 2 years against guys just as worse. Took 5 years off, almost quit sport. I don't think he's as motivated to get into the UFC like Andreas Gustafsson, who's been working the entire time to get into the UFC, has been fighting very good guys, even guys that have made it to the UFC and are looking very good right now. Christian Leroy Duncan, most of the time a favorite. I gotta think, and I gotta trust that this 33-year-old is gonna make a statement, get a finish. Andreas Gustafsson, the Swedish, should win. Pat Pytlik, he could get that first round finish. he's going to be motivated to get into the UFC, but at 35 years old, he's going to need a big win by knockout finish. He has all knockout wins. He has a submission loss. I don't know how this guy's grappling is going to hold up against a guy with 2 submission wins, yes, but still has a grappling advantage in this fight, who still has probably more power on the feet. He beat guys in the last 2 years that are 8-3. So that's not that bad. 6-4. He fought some other high caliber guys as well. The Christian Leroy Duncan fight was in his amateur career. When he's fought pro, he's fought some guys with pretty good records, knocked them out. It might have took him, late second, third round, but he still got the job done. He still got the finish. And now we got to think he's in the main event against the Canadian, who was going to quit sport, had 5 years off, came back, and he only knocked out guys that are pretty low level. He's taking a big step up now, and I think he might get knocked out against a tough Swedish fighter. This might be a sweet prop to hit. Hopefully the odds are not wide on this one. They're probably going to be. These 4 favorites at this point, the last 4 fights I just predicted are going to win, and they're going to look dominant. Now I'm going to say, Andreas Gustafsson did look like kind of dog water against that 8-4 fighter. He was getting hit a lot. He was having to show his toughness and durability, in which he shouldn't be having to do, but he's only lost 2 decisions, a majority decision to Jolteon Lauterbach, who was supposed to fight Sharabullet Magomedov. Lauterbach is 37-10, and it was a majority decision loss for Andreas Gustafsson. That was a very good loss. But his loss before that is not looking very good. It was a split decision, 2020, and it was a 4-3 opponent who isn't very good, who's terrible. I don't know how he lost that fight. He gets hit a lot. He likes to show his toughness and durability. It probably cost him that fight. In this one, he's going to need the finish if he's going to want to cover as a favorite, in my opinion. Pytlik probably still gets pounded if this fight goes the distance. I can't trust my Canadian. Reverse psychology on this one. Fade the Canadians. They're not getting the contract, and they're not going to have success at week 2 of Dana White's Contender Series. It takes place Tuesday. I really appreciate that support. Dropping a comment goes a long way. I really appreciate it, more than you know. And while you're at it, smash that like button. That also helps with the algorithm. Suplexing the subscribe button is going to help you, though. I'm going to push as much content as I can out. It's Sunday. I'm getting Dana White's Contender Series out. The predictions, the picks. You might know a couple bets. I've gave you some insight on what I'm doing. But trust me, you don't want to just blindly tail what I'm doing. I'm not doing very good right now. It might be best to fade the Fight Fiend forecast for right now. But I'm feeling pretty confident in these favorites. I'm feeling pretty confident in these 3 fighters coming back for their second time looking for the contract. Let's hope they get the win, because if they do, I do.